the same night I ended up in jail. So let me tell you how this went down. Me and my ex-boyfriend ended up going to church because his uncle was about to be ordained as a deacon. He invited us, so we went. When we go to church, his pastor is talking all about how we deserve absolutely no credit, regardless of what you have in this life, regardless of how hard you work. You deserve zero credit. God get all the glory. We get absolutely nothing. I don't care how hard you work. You get nothing. Not nothing for nothing. And at the time, where I was in life, I completely disagree with everything that man was saying. I was in there looking real crazy, like, I don't agree. I really felt that way. Excuse me, I really felt that way. I absolutely did not agree with anything he was saying, and I was saying it. I was literally showing that. And I'm sure I know me, my emotions, whatever I think be on my face, and I know that's how I was feeling, because I was like, I just don't agree that I deserve no credit. What about my obedience? What about my yes? I have the free will. I could have said no, but I did it. So I felt like I deserved some credit. I love the Lord. The Lord gets all the glory. Now, at the time, the Lord get most of it, but I wanted a little bit. I just wanted a little credit for how hard I work, y'all. And I had worked very, very hard, y'all. At the time, I was a nurse. I had degrees. I was an entrepreneur making 7 figures a year with our business was. And I had bought a house and I had cars. I mean, I just felt like I worked really hard. I got it out of the mud. I grew up poor. I got it out the mud, period, 100%. I felt like I deserved some glory. A little bit. I mean, just to say the truth, I thought I should have got something. And the pastor was saying I didn't deserve nothing, y'all. So I remember leaving out that church and I was thinking, that man don't know what he's talking about, or I just don't agree with what he was saying. I just don't see it. Don't make sense. I'm just trying to grasp what he was saying, and it don't make sense. The math ain't mathing to me. I feel like I do deserve some credit. So I was literally like chuckling, like, yeah, whatever. I don't agree. When I tell y'all, that same night, I got arrested. The very same night, I ended up going to a party with a friend. She had a house party, and I had so much fun, and I ended up in jail on some technicalities, y'all. The officer, I literally left the house because I was keto. I'm gonna tell y'all real quick. I left her house. I was keto. I decided I was like, yeah, I want some Taco Bell. I ended up eating Taco Bell, y'all. The officer swore down I fell asleep at the wheel. I was literally eating Taco Bell. He swore down I fell asleep. And I was like, what in the world? Like, that is not true. Ended up going to jail, and I just felt like, oh my gosh. And I tell you, the Lord showed me what life is like if he was to take his hands off of me. Like, if Satan was to have his way with you, he would have a field day with you. He would have a field day. I got arrested. Even God was just putting in my spirit, you think you worked so hard for that little degree. What if I take it? What if something happens and you don't get the degree? You don't get to keep your degree. So that was one strike, y'all. I'll say not even a week later, I went to the store, literally went in the store, went up to the register, bought a drink. Before I could even buy the drink, y'all, there was nobody in line. Somebody said, oh, somebody just busted your window and stole something out your car. I run outside, y'all. My window is shattered. Mind you, the door was open. They could have just opened the door and stole the bag, but they wanted, for some reason, to use some little tool and bust my window. Stole my little work bag. There was nothing in there. And I was very pissed off. I was like, oh my gosh, like, wow. A week later, my ex had used my car for some reason. Didn't use his. He used my car. Had the nerve to leave his phone on the charger and go in the store. And guess what? Somebody bust the window out again and stole his phone. So when I tell you, the Lord literally showed me exactly what that man was talking about. He showed me what life would be like if he was to take his hands off of me. What if I was to release you? What if I was to remove you from under this covering? You think you deserve something? Ain't no degree gonna save you if I take my hands off of you. There's nothing you can do that will save you if I take my hands off of you. So the Lord showed me exactly what that pastor was talking about. He gave me the biggest slice of humble pie I ever had in my life. I've had a couple of slices, but never one that big. He humbled thy girl, okay? He humbled me. And y'all, I was actually reading this morning. Was it this morning? Yeah, no, it was yesterday morning. The Lord led me to Genesis 40 and 41. He gave me a great revelation about 40, but I'll save that for another day. 41 is the one that really had me thinking about this situation. So just to tell y'all, this story was all about Joseph. And to give y'all some back context, Joseph ended up, he was the second to the youngest of his father's children. He was the favorite. His father absolutely loved Joseph, and Joseph knew it. Everybody knew it. All his other brothers knew it. They knew Joseph was a favorite. Joseph was just also so anointed. He was so anointed by the Lord. He could interpret dreams. He had all these dreams and knew all this stuff, and just was having his way. Just having his way, right? So the Lord gave him a dream. In the dream, Joseph saw that all of his brothers had bowed before him. And guess what Joseph did? Joseph ran his little cell phone up out of his room, wherever he was sleeping at, and he tell them, all y'all gonna bow before me. He tell them, they already jealous. They already jealous. Can't stand Joseph. So jealous of him. And he tell them that. And y'all, when I tell you they really hated him then, they literally started plotting his demise, wanted to kill him. Ended up, instead of killing him, they threw him in a pit and sold him off as a slave. He ended up in Egypt. Ended up to the master that he definitely had favor. Now, even in Egypt, God still allowed him to have favor wherever he went, even as a slave. He was the one that was top notch, the head slave in charge, and until Potiphar's wife accused him of trying to rape her, because really she was choosing Joseph, and Joseph wasn't going for it. Joseph was a man of integrity. He was not about to be messing around with his master's wife. Absolutely not. And she did not like that. She ended up accusing him of raping her and had Joseph thrown in jail. So at this point, Joseph had been thrown in jail. Chapter 40 went into detail about how the Pharaoh, the Pharaoh of Egypt, two of his officers, he had got upset with them. He put them in jail. They had dreams. They were sad because nobody was there to interpret them. But just lo and behold, Joseph cared enough to ask them how were they doing. And they told him that they had dreams and they needed somebody to interpret it. So Joseph did. He told one of them that he would die, and the other one he would be raised back up. The Pharaoh would forgive him for whatever he had done. And that's exactly what happened. So now 2 years later, because the man forgot to tell Pharaoh all about Joseph, and Joseph stayed in jail another 2 years. So he was in jail for maybe about 12 years altogether. So in Genesis 41, Pharaoh come and he hears all about how Joseph, he had these dreams, right? He had a dream that nobody could interpret it. No magician, no amount of sorcery, no warlock, no witch. Nobody could interpret the dream that Pharaoh had. And the cupbearer remembered Joseph and said, oh yeah, there's somebody in prison that can do it for you. So Pharaoh sends for Joseph, and Joseph tell them, he sends for Joseph. Joseph cleaned up, he shaved, and then Pharaoh goes to Joseph. And this is what really stuck out to me. So let me pull it up here. I think it was in 15. Yep. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I have had a dream, and there is no one who can interpret it, but I have heard it said of you that you can understand a dream to interpret it. And so Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, it is not in me. God will give Pharaoh an answer of peace. So look at what happened. Joseph had been humbled. Joseph, the same Joseph who had told all his brothers, y'all gonna bow before me, was now telling Pharaoh, it is not I who can interpret that dream. I don't want none of the Lord's credit. Don't give me none of it. I don't want it. It is all him. He gonna interpret a dream. All I am is a vessel, or what you want to know, so he can do it. Because although Joseph had been going through what he went through, God never took his hands off him. God always showed him favor. God always raised him up. God always allowed him to, he's anointed regardless of where he was. And he realized that. So Joseph was humble, y'all. Just as I was humble, God humbled me, that regardless of what you got or what you think you done did out here in this life, you deserve no praise. You deserve no glory, because all the glory belongs to me. God also just let me saw that wherever he's taking me in this life, he need me to be completely humble. I have to know that there is nothing that I got on this earth that is given to me because of my good deeds. It is all him. So the message today is, guys, Humble yourself before the Lord humbles you, okay? It's easier if you do it for yourself than if he do it.